Okay, thanks for bearing with me. We got our conversation set with the sergeant. He's on his way to pick us up. We're going to go on another ride along with him on the ATVs, and we're going to go and actually go back into this area because there's a lot of migrants that'll be coming across there that are going to want to be apprehended and want to be processed by Border Patrol. I'm going to grab my mask because I'm going to go over and see if I can speak with any of them. I don't speak great Spanish, but I might be able to find out where some of them are from. But I know that COVID cases are up, so I'm going to go ahead and put on a mask for Justin, just in case. So I can tell you here, let me turn this back around. Probably got 75, 100 people here waiting for Border Patrol to be processed, and then they'll be transported. And right now they have some papers, so I'm going to try to figure out what is on those papers, if they'll show me, and see what I can find out. So let me ask. Let me see. Hold on one second. Hi there. ¿De dónde eres? Nicaragua. Okay. Do you have that papers? Papeles? Do they have números on esta papel para ti, or do you have these? ¿Qué está? What is this? Okay. Okay. No tienes. You're waiting for that? Okay. Okay, you do have. Can I see? Mira. I don't need to show it on TV. I just want to see. Okay, so this is documentation. Okay, Nicaragua. Okay. Okay, gracias. Gracias, señor. Okay, so what those papers are, they're showing where they're from. It is, if they have identification, the license is on there. They have a copy of their identification. That couple is from Nicaragua, is what they're telling me. Again, I don't speak great Spanish, and it doesn't sound like a lot of, from when we were talking with a lot of folks, a lot of them don't speak Spanish either. So, so we're learning a lot right now. They're getting, the paperwork that they have is their documentation. So some of them they all have a paperwork, and they have their license on there or whatever identification they have. And then they have the location that they're going to. And so these folks are from Nicaragua. They're going to be processed by Border Patrol, and they'll be fingerprinted in those things. Again, they do have their identifications copied on a piece of paper that I just saw here. They were showing me the documents that they have. And so right now they're waiting to be processed. And again, these people all want to be apprehended so that they can continue on their journey into the U.S. And what will happen is they'll have a final destination. Wherever they're going to go, wherever that final destination is, they'll be given a court date. And then they are set to respond to that court date, usually within 12 to 36 months is what the sheriffs are telling me. And in that time frame, they're in the U.S. working, establishing lives and things like that before they even see a judge. So they definitely they know about this process. They know where to come in. This information is coming from local police, local sheriff's departments, and they know where to cross. They know that they know the logistics of getting over here, and they know that because they're watching the news. They know that because they are using social media. They have cell phones. They're people just like everybody else. So they know exactly what's going on, and they know how to get into the U.S. And so right now, again, these people are waiting right now to be transported. They'll be processed by Border Patrol, and then depending on where right now, we're in La Joya, so we're in Hidalgo County, so they're likely going to be transported to the Respite, which is a Catholic Charities NGO. They can handle about 2,000 people, and apparently they're seeing numbers in the 3,000, so they're pretty inundated as well. Hopefully, sorry guys, it's really windy. Hopefully you can still hear me. I'm trying to get my mic in a spot that's a little bit better. So, yeah, we're sitting here watching several migrants waiting to be processed. Most of them, from what we learned earlier from the sergeant with La Joya Police, is that they'll cross the Rio, and then they'll come over onto the U.S. side, but they'll end up kind of staying in the wooded areas because it's just too hot. So they'll stay there during the daytime, and then they'll come out in these evening hours, or between the 2 and 5 a.m. hours is what the sergeant was telling me. So right now we're waiting for him. He's going to pick us up. We're going to go on another ride along throughout that sector, throughout that region that they tend to see a lot of apprehensions and where they assist a lot of people. The sergeant also telling me that they have helped about 5,000 people year to date out of that area. Today we saw one gentleman who was abandoned by his group that he was with because he was blind, and so the sergeant was assisting him and then worked with Border Patrol to get him onto his way. So, you know, this is a multifaceted issue for a lot of people, for this county, for this police department. They were saying they only have 15 people on their department. So right now you see it's all Border Patrol here, and Border Patrol, they all work in conjunction with all the local law enforcement, but they don't share details. A lot of the details that they even cover, they don't talk about with the local law enforcement. So they're pretty tight-lipped. It is a government agency. It isn't, you know, they aren't going to share a lot of details with us. So we're trying to get bits and pieces that we can, you know, gather, but what we can tell you is once they're processed, they'll end up with a manila envelope. It's those, you know, big envelopes that we see all the time that, you know, in business and in work and whatever, but they will end up with one of those once they are processed. And we have seen those papers as well. And what's on that paper is going to be the exact address and the name and information of whoever they're going to meet up with at their final destination. So they have to have a family member or somebody that they're meeting up with. So one family that we talked to yesterday, they were coming originally from Cuba, but they were working in Uruguay, and they were going to meet up with family in Vegas that had gotten to Vegas 4 months ago. So they had been working for 4 years to get here. They already had jobs lined up. They were working in the hotel industry, and so she was going to meet up with her family and do, you know, work in the hospitality industry as well. Her husband was going to work in a remodeling business. So, you know, they're coming over here. A lot of them are just saying that it's, you know, they want a better life for themselves. And we just heard from the sheriff here in Hidalgo County that said, you know, if that is your claim for asylum, when they see their judge, when they go to their court hearing, they could be denied because that isn't grounds for asylum. But we know that their court dates are 12 to 36 months away. So, you know, and do all of them come back? We know that there were some that only 5% of migrants returned for their court date. I believe that was in Brooks County. So, you know, we also know that these people don't stay here. So their court dates are in the states where they're going to. And a lot of them also we've seen once they're at the respite that they're going to, they have ankle monitors on as a tracking device. And the sheriff said it's a fairly new program, a new tool that they're trying to use to be able to know where these people are going and to be able to make sure that they're going to the destination that they say they're going to. But, you know, it's pretty tough because they end up, you know, being bused to the depots or to the airports, and then they go on their way. And then it's their responsibility to, you know, to return for their court date, to do those things. Now, the COVID positive ones, those tests aren't being done by Border Patrol. We just learned from the sheriff here in Hidalgo County, we learned that it is a respite or the NGO that's going to conduct those tests. So Catholic Charities is the one that has to conduct those COVID tests. Well, we know that 7,000 COVID positive tests were found, and then those people were out in McAllen. That's what the Army Corps of Engineers was telling us. And those people were out in McAllen, and there's nothing that they can do to make them stay in the hotel rooms that the NGO put them in or anything. They have paperwork that's basically like a code of honor that you're not going to leave. And if you break that, they could end up affecting their asylum claims. But that's, you know, there was literally a couple and their little child that the sheriff was telling us about, that the kid wanted a hamburger. I mean, the respite gives them food, water, all of those things. They were saying there's no reason for them to need to leave their rooms, but they did because the kid wanted a hamburger and the mom wanted to give the kid a hamburger. So they ended up at Whataburger. They were coughing. people were concerned and they asked what was going on, and the migrants said that they were COVID positive. And so they called, the people there called the police, and the police came and responded. But this is a really shocking part, is that they can't make them quarantine if they're COVID positive. They can't do anything. And they had a security guard, but then over the last couple of weeks, apparently they haven't had one. And so these people were walking off on their own volition pretty much. And I said, well, what does the security guard, what authority does he have? And they said zero to do anything except for to call police. So my sergeant friend just arrived again. All right, you ready for this? Okay, we're gonna go back on another ride. Gonna give my mother my key here. All right. Okay. He's not gonna know what's going on over there. He just showed up. Okay. So you guys all know this guy. He's our old friend by now. Hopping in this. Okay, I'm gonna set you guys right here for 1 second. So chill out, just relax. I gotta make sure I'm buckled in. You guys are fine.
We're gonna intercept the large group that's coming down out of the river right now.
Okay, so we gotta hurry. Okay, let me get my little thing buckled here. Did you already go on your other ride along, sir?
No, you're my first.
Ooh, we are the first, you guys. We're gonna go and intercept a group coming across, he says. So hopefully you guys can hear me. I got a mic on this time, sir.
Awesome.
Let's do it. Okay. Okay, so again, we are in La Joya. We are in the Rio Grande Valley sector, the busiest sector for apprehensions and crossings. We're going to along the Rio. There's a group coming across, and we're going to go, what he said is intercept them. So that's where we're heading. You guys are along for the ride. Groups of 50 to 100. The sergeant here is saying that they're being blitzed basically from all areas. They were coming in from one direction, and now they're seeing it from all areas here along the Rio. And I asked him, well, isn't it pretty deep out here? Because this isn't like up in Del Rio where the water is shallow enough for them to just walk across. This is deep water that they can't get across. So a lot of times the coyotes will put them on rafts and bring them across. Okay, so this is one of the... So were you just advising them where they needed to go? Okay, so he was just letting them know that that's where the processing is happening. So you can see a lot of family units that are coming through here. Now, do you know, is anybody posing as family units that you found that aren't actually families that are trying to get across? Like men maybe linking up with a family, or people, apprehending kids and bringing them along to pretend to be a family?
Could be possible.
Okay. How would you find that out, or how would you know that? That Border Patrol would have to? Okay. So he said there's no way to know that. That is a Border Patrol thing that they would have to, go through and determine as well. So,
you don't want to go check down there?
I'm going to escort him that way, and then
I'm going to go all the way down to the river where the post is at, and then I'll come back out. And then from here we'll go over there. All right, just give me a sec. We're going to go all the way south where the river, the road meets the river. We're going to make sure that no one's for the east side, because sometimes they'll walk from the east side of the wall directly.
Okay, and then they're too far, right? That's dangerous.
And then after this, we have to head back towards the west side, because right now they're just going to start pouring from every side of the river.
Okay. He said that we're going to go down here towards the river. We're going to look and make sure that no one's going basically away from the processing center, because if that's the case, they're going to be, in the wrong direction. They're walking in this heat. They're walking in these elements. So you kind of have to help guide them in some capacity. So right now we're doing that. He said they're a couple of family units. Let me move this microphone again so I can get up, make sure you guys can hear. Oh, we're good.